All right, folks, something's up. The Army is not doing too good right now. And you know, I've been noticing this. It has been going on for quite a while. I mean, something happened maybe around 2011, 2012. It really started declining and fast. The backbone of the Army has been turned into jello. It has. NCOs are now being forced to focus more on themselves than their actual soldiers. I've talked to them, and they've all told me the same thing. Something happened where it's all about classes or whatever. Maybe it's because we're on a downward trend from actual time overseas and in the box. We're still going. Maybe they've been using that as an excuse. I don't know. But listen up. Sarn, if you in, listen up. That creed is not a piece of paper that you are just supposed to remember for the board. It is more than that. It is something you have to live by. Being the backbone of the Army, all right? That time-honored Corps means that you are the backbone. You are where that line draws. Doesn't matter if it's an E9, doesn't matter if it's an E1. You stand by your word, you stand by the core values, and you represent Uncle Sam and yourself to the fullest extent. Let's go over some of that creed, yeah? No one's more professional than I. That's straight from the opening, straight from the gate. You are professional, right? You're a member of a time-honored Corps known as the backbone of the Army. Let's skip the rest, go to the second paragraph. Competence is my watchword. Competence. Think about that. What does it really mean? Let's break down that word, all right? Competence is your watchword. Let's go a little bit further. I know my soldiers. I know my soldiers. I will always place their needs above my own. I had a staff sergeant in 2008 who made me read this damn thing over and over and over again. I haven't looked at the NCO Creed since 2011. It was always instilled in me. Now, why are you so mad about just a creed, T? Why are you so mad just about the creed? It's just a thing. It's more than that. Let's talk about Vanessa, right? Maybe if that NCO followed that creed a little bit closer, maybe if he was a little bit less on the pervy side and looked at her as a soldier, not a piece of meat, maybe she'd still be alive right now. Who knows really why she died? We just know that everybody's pretty professional in covering that crap up. What about the other Joe? Took one through the head by his Jeep. These are soldiers, right? That means somebody is responsible for them. I know in my heart of hearts, if any of the first sergeants I ever had found out that one of their Joes met one of these untimely deaths, there would be hell to pay. And it would all roll downhill from the top level down. There would be hell to pay. There would be stripes removed, and there would be freaking investigations made. I was taken up out of my house on an Easter weekend before I deployed to Afghanistan because somebody misplaced a 105 round. CID had my whole platoon in their office that night to find out what happened to a 105 round. Now, I know troops go AWOL back in the rear all the time, but you know what? You got to do some kind of checking. You got to do some kind of spot checking. If you're responsible for that, Joe, you got to really know, because I know that all the dudes in my unit, yeah, they knew when their troops were AWOL, but they also knew if A, they were alive, they knew if B, they went back home, and they kind of almost all the time knew their general location. But when it breaks down to it, some people ain't for the Army, and the Army ain't for some people. We have at our disposal right now the right to be able to choose who comes in and who doesn't when it comes to the Army. We need to bring that back. Just stop filling slots and actually start making people earn it again. Give the NCOs their freaking backbone back. Let that bad boy start in basic. Let them drill sergeants off the freaking chains. Let them go. Let them break them down. That's where it was supposed to be at. If you can't handle a couple drill instructors calling you names and making you feel worthless so they can break you down and build you back up again, how are you supposed to handle combat? How are you supposed to handle that stress? How are you supposed to handle your leadership handling that stress? That's how they handle it. Your voice will be projected. Your adrenaline will be full blown. You will have no idea what's going on. The only thing that will know what's going on are your muscles and the memory of the training that has been freaking beaten into you and beaten into you over and over again until it becomes second nature. They need that. We can't have an area where you're leaving space open for somebody just to be so wholeheartedly self-entitled that they believe that they can do whatever they want to whomever they want and not have to be responsible for anybody more than themselves. I still deal with soldiers a lot. I mean, I work right next to Fort Campbell. In my job, I have a lot of soldiers as clients. A lot of them still call me up. And it's always the same thing. They're getting left behind. They're getting showed for favorites or whatever. You know, when I asked, and you know, yeah, I get it. There were a lot of dirtbags that whined back when I was in. I get it, and I'm tracking. But this is more than that. When I asked them these simple questions, where are they standing right now in points? How are they prepping for the board? Basic things like, do they, you know, the go bag, the materials, the prep, the hip pocket training. Sergeant's time training on Thursdays is no longer a thing at Fort Campbell. Well, now, of course, because of COVID, but even before COVID, it wasn't a thing. The one time where the NCOs were really supposed to get that one-on-one in-the-face time with their Joes, sergeant's time training, nah, gone. And now, and even more so than that, they're actually just being told to go do, you know, some kind of college courses or whatever they may do. I mean, they're not really learning much. How are you supposed to send these dudes into combat? You can't just bank it all on the, you know, the 30 days you're going to spend in Fort Polk, Louisiana, or out there in Monterey. You can't bank all of that. You got to be able to be in a position to know your guys, to have their needs above your own. You need to know how they're living. You need to know how they're eating, how the family dynamics is going on. You are a non-commissioned officer, a leader of soldiers. You can't lead your soldiers properly if you do not know your soldiers. It's more than about getting your next class and your wings. It's about bringing our boys and girls home, SAR. You boys better wake up and start acting like it. Get your backbone straight, all right? The Army needs that. Not one more death, all right? We are at 25 lives. 25 lives a day of suicide. And you know what? I guarantee you over half of them are back home and non-combat related. Get it together. Somebody call the Sergeant Major of the Army, somebody call the General, and put a freaking plan together of how to get our NCOs back. No more death. Don't let their lives go in vain. The NCO Corps, we can't lose that. We lose that, we might as well lose America. But that's just my 2 cents. Thank you for your time.